Good evening, YouTube. This is Kaylin String coming at you with Meal 2 from this 2020 Australian CR1M that was graciously, generously sent to me by Mike Crasher Reviews. And this one was not rated by Customs when he got it, so no doubt that pleased him very much. I have a pot on the stove to boil the main, and I have a kettle for my hot drink, which will be one of the teas. Now, these do not come with an FRH, as I shown when I first opened this bag last Sunday. So either the soldier in the field had to eat it cold or find some other way to heat it, perhaps just putting it out in the hot sun on a hot surface, or putting it over an engine block with it running and let the residual heat from the engine block do the job, or they may be issued an FRH separately. I don't know. But anyway, so the other retort pouch main, as in here, is a spaghetti bolognese. This is a 250 gram serving, so just, roughly about the same amount as you would get in a USMRE, which is normally an 8-ounce serving when it's a wet pack. Unless it's something like a beef patty or the pork patty or a chicken breast, and then something else would be added to that ration to jack up the protein. So anyway, this will be going into the pot. And then I have here, since there's only one cold drink powder, not including the chocolate protein drink, and I had that last week, so I dug out this lemon lime from my drink stash. That will go into my drinking jar. So here is the remainder of the sweetened condensed milk. I stored this in my fridge, but I took it out a little while ago to let it warm up just a little bit. And plus, being that this is a metal tube, I can squeeze it up to the top to get that out. Of course, I have the Vegemite tube here. So I will move the bag to the side. So here's a tea bag that will go into my foreignamry.com mug. Here's a biscuit, the jam sandwich. These are awesome. This is a protein drink that I will open up for the final meal. I haven't decided if I'm going to open up the M&Ms or the chocolate ration. The last time I had one of these, I saved it until I got a hold of a U.S. chocolate ration bar, and I did a comparison video between the two versions. Those U.S. chocolate ration bars are just as hard to get a hold of as these. I also have this can of Bega cheese. Which you can buy the bigger blue cans of this on Amazon. It's pretty pricey, just like the red feather butter is pretty pricey, but this is one way of getting shelf-stable cheese. And this has a tomato ketchup and the Tabasco, but I do not see either of these as being appropriate for spaghetti bolognese. So they may be just going into my stash. So next week will be the smashed potatoes, the creamy mushroom soup, the tuna, and the teriyaki beef steak bar, the big jerky bar. There is prepping to endure. There's MFOS here. Let's see, those are the only two chats so far, so thanks for dropping in. I guess they both dropped out. Apparently, people are having connection issues, which is a real bummer and a half. Hopefully, they will make it back by the time I get this done up. My chat is showing 0 viewers, so I don't know what's up with that. There is Gardening Warrior Q. I see you're back on your account. I hope you got all that crap sorted out with you not being able to access your account. I'm just going to use a Walgreens bag for a trash bag. And to stir things up and to eat with, I have my foreignemery.com spork. The Aussie spoon will be added to my supply of plastic utensils that I save for emergency purposes. That way, if I have to conserve water and not wash dishes or utensils, I can go to that stash and use those and then just toss them out. Although some are strong enough that they can be washed and reused, and we have actually done that at the mosque. Plus, I've done that here at home. I have washed plastic utensils that would otherwise be tossed out and just added them to my stash for reuse. I don't do that a whole lot, but I have done it. There are some in there that are really, really crappy and just would not last more than one meal. Of course, any that are broken upon arrival, they immediately get tossed because they're useless. There is the Carlos Perry in the house. Thanks for dropping in. I like to mix these cold drink powders first because they take pretty long to dissolve, especially if they have real sugar. The sugar-free ones take a lot less time to dissolve. There's a lot less powder. Again, this ration only came with one cold drink powder, so I get into my stash. Now, this is just your basic tea bag, nondescript packaging. But the tea bag itself has the Bell brand. So I think the packer just got a crap ton of these Bell branded tea bags and just put them in these little packets for use in the ration. And I'm going to do this like what would be popular with the Brits. They like their tea white and sweet. And I used to do this a lot when I was younger, my early adulthood. But then as I got older, I stopped doing that. I would just drink my tea straight up black. Maybe sweet, sometimes not. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to go put this in the pot on the stove, and then I will bring back the hot water for the tea. And I'll be right back. I just took the kettle back to the kitchen just to get it out of the way. I'm stirring this to get the sweetened condensed milk to blend in with the water. I'll set that back there. The tea can steep. Fix that just a little bit. There we go. That's a little better. Let's see how these held up. Well, this is different. This one has a heart, and then this one has just a circle, and it looks like a slightly different. This one is not as red. You can see that it is like a darker red here. But this is like a harder stuff inside here. There is Quint in the house. Thanks for dropping in. Yeah, this is the U.S. lemon lime. It is actually my favorite of the ration drinks, aside from that grape that has like 40% real grape juice. In that one, that would normally be issued with a UGR or unitized group ration. I found a lot of those on eBay, and I bought that lot, and I drank quite a few of them. I sent a couple to one per, and then and I have like 4 left, and I'm holding on to those. I offered to send one to Sean for the Ration Museum, but he has some of those already. That's okay. Safe travels. So these are basically and I'm going to open up the, call it cream cracker. It's closer to a saltine. It's not. Actually, I'm going to put these over here. Three of them survived intact. And one broke a little bit. That's pretty darn good for having come all the way from Australia. This has a best buy of 2023. Not sure if that will be able to focus. These shiny things have a hard time focusing. And there is Mike. Thanks for dropping in. I was just showing best buy date on this can of bag of cheese. Next time I get a little extra spare coin to drop some on Amazon, I'm going to get me a couple of cans to put into my longer term food storage. But I'm going to go get a can opener and open this little bugger. Oh, look how clean that came off. There are spicy tuna rolls here. I'll take that back to the kitchen when I go get the main. So this is what the bag of cheese looks like. I'm shielding from, I don't know how well this lighting works for showing the cheese. Some of these lighter colored items might wash out. Now I can turn the light that's to my left down a little bit. In fact, I just may do that. Hopefully that helps a little bit, but it's a light colored cheese. And it's really good cheese. The chocolate ration broke along the way here, but that's okay. Let's see how well it survived. It actually looks pretty good. No bloom on it whatsoever. My air conditioner is ticking on and off. So I hope that's not too bothersome. Anyway, I'm going to go get the spaghetti bolognese and I'll put this can opener away and I'll be right back. I am back. And this over here. I bring it in this. I take it out of the pot. I drop it in here. Just to make it easier to carry this thing that's just come out of the boiling water. And I bring a paper towel so I can dry it off. I'm even drying the gusseted bottom. Put that there. See, it has a nice gusseted bottom. That way, if you had to eat it in the field, it can stand up. very easy to open. Look how clean on the inside. Now, Bolognese refers to a specific region, Bologna in Italy. So probably their sauce style. Looks like a piece of tomato. So there is beef in here. So this is not a vegetarian entree. It's ground beef. It kind of tastes like you might get this out of a canned pasta. But it's not as sweet as something like you might find in a Chef Boyardee product. Some of those can be a bit sweet. The pasta itself is very, very soft. It's short, obviously to make it easy to eat in the field. The beef is evenly distributed in a sauce. It's very nicely seasoned. I like it just the way it is. Of course, what would be awesome I dropped a couple of hunks of cheese in there. I'm going to taste this cheese by itself before I stir that in. It's a nice cheddar. I'm hoping that the warmth of this will make that cheese melt a little bit, so I'm just going to bury it. Yep. So there is nothing on the side of this can. The brand is on the top. It's Bega brand cheese. Now, if I wanted to add a little saltiness, I could just drop some Vegemite in there. Remember, this stuff can be used in recipes in the same way that you would use salt, or if you wanted to put anchovies in, or anchovy paste, or anchovy powder. When you do it that way, you put a very small amount into a recipe. You do not taste the Vegemite itself. You simply taste the saltiness that it adds. Now, this cheese does not melt as easily as, say, if I were to squirt some U.S. Emery cheese or British Ration cheese. Cheese itself has salt in it, so it would add some saltiness as well. But this is one way you could eat this, by putting the cheese in, maybe some of the Vegemite. Since this cracker is broken, I'll show you what the inside of it looks like. This has the flavor of a saltine that you might find here in the US. Maybe a light version, a less sodium version of a saltine. I mean, this is what the US Emery cracker should be, with some actual flavor. And you could dip it in your pasta bolognese. Put some cheese on it. I'm going to take this tea bag out of here. I just did it off to my right. I'm a tea bag squeezer. So this would be a proper British tea. I can still taste the flavor of the tea. I just taste the creaminess of the milk and the sweetness from the sugar. Now, straight up, it doesn't take much of this Vegemite, but I like it. But I'm going back to this. Well, I don't know about the chocolate cheese. I would not do that. But I would do this. This gives it a little bit of crunch. Yeah, this is definitely an enjoyable meal. I'm very happy to have this. I'm going to take a bite of this biscuit sandwich. The filling is almost as dense as a gummy candy or a jelly candy. It's not runny like a jam. It would not have the same consistency of that plum jam if I were to go ahead and crack that open, which I still could. So this is the plum jam in the same type of tube. You pop that pointy thing into the seal. And I'll squirt some of it out onto here. Might be a bit runny, that first bit, but you can still see the color of it. That's almost the color of the filling of this jam sandwich, even though this is not a plum flavor. And so I'll do this. I should put some there. So that's what it looks like. It is definitely a sweet plum. It's not bad. It might be a bit too sweet for a plum jam. I would have expected it to be a little more tart. But then again, it may have come from sweet plums. But I don't remember what the jam was when I had that customs rated CR1M that I had bought from Foreign MRE years ago. I'd have to dig through my Ration videos to find that, but that was several years ago, and I really don't want to dig through all those. So, but again, that one was from, I think, 2016, I believe. So when I bought that one, what Art and Nina had done was they substituted a couple of mains from USMRE so that I could still have complete meals out of it. But now, being able to taste the real Aussie mains, this is a definite thrill. I am really enjoying this. Well, we got the Carlos here. If you're friends with him on Facebook, check out the pictures of his son. He is so darn cute. I just have to smile every time I see his face. Oh, there's just something about little kids when they're that age. They just make you smile. And on a day like today, when we here in the US and in Canada, because they had to deal with this as well, when so many flights were diverted out of US airspace, and all those planes that were in the air that were told to fly into Canada and land there. And I don't remember how many planes, not passengers, but planes, had to haul tail to Canada. And I think some that were in the southern U.S. either went to Mexico or went to the Caribbean islands. How many thousands of people had to sit in these other countries and wait till our government allowed them to either fly back to the U.S. or come over by land, because I think the borders were even closed. I don't remember. But, yeah, Canada took in so many of our citizens and other foreign nationals that were trying to get to other destinations here in the U.S., or some planes that were destined for the U.S. from other countries diverted to Canada or Mexico or the Caribbean if they were too far from their takeoff point to return back. So those other countries also have this day to remember, because they took in so many people that were otherwise not intending to go there. And speaking of foreign MRE, there is Art and Nina in the house dropping that super chat, saying hi to everybody. Thanks for dropping in. I really enjoyed that review that Art did on the channel. So if you haven't seen that, go check that out. Yeah, it looked like a pretty good one. And that's all I will say about it. You have to go check it out to find out what ration he reviewed. And I'm looking forward to seeing the next update on the new digs whenever you get that one out. Yeah, garlic. Yeah, I am a garlic fan. I like my garlic. Yeah, I wouldn't mind a little bit more garlic in this. I think that would kick it up even more. But as it is, this is pretty darn good. Another drink of this Aussie Bell branded tea that was in a nondescript packaging. I added the rest of the sweetened condensed milk to it to make it a proper English tea. Although I think this is just a standard black. I don't think it's like an English breakfast tea. I would have to look up the Bell brand. But I think it's just your standard basic black tea. But it's still a pretty good tea. Even though this is not warm enough to melt the cheese anymore, I'm going to throw a few more bits of this bag of cheese in there. Just because I can. Out. Not the most stable thing I have, but it works for me. I could just eat this cheese by itself. It's so good. I could take a cracker, put some of this with a chunk of the bag of cheese in there. Yeah, garlic is supposed to have heart health benefits. I have known the clove of as if they were taking a medicine, just like I do honey every night before I go to bed. Not because I want something sweet at night, but I like to treat honey like medicine. Does it too. And when we go on our annual family trip, she forgets to pack the honey, but I remember it, so I share the bottle that I bring with her. And and the ground beef in here is very well distributed throughout the sauce. And it as I said, a tip pasta sauce, but not quite like the ones that we would get here in the U.S., say from Chef Boyardee or some of the other ones, or the store brand versions. Some of those can be a bit sweet, and I don't always like that in a pasta sauce. Yep. Yeah, garlic, you can have a garlic in your pizza. Just put it in in the sauce, or if you put garlic powder in the pizza dough. Yeah, I have a few bottles of local honey, although I will no longer be able to get honey from the guy I used to get a few from, because he sold his hives and bees after his wife got severe sting. That was so bad, she had to go to the ER for it. So they have since gotten a supply of Eppies, just in case she gets bee stinging insect. I traded a bag full of egg cartons for the last jar of honey that he had left, that he was offering up to students. And he kept some for himself to use at home. But I have other bottles of honey that are made here in Iowa. Okay, Sean, thanks for dropping in. Hope to catch you another time. I watched his latest review today of a 2004 U.S. Maine. And for the most part, that one was very good. Although the nut mix that he had already gone to crap, but the Mountain House was good as it always is. And you can't go wrong with Mountain House. No, you can't see what I'm doing because or I'll on there. I had to do it. And Dub C, if he were here, he would appreciate this one. Speaking of him, it'll be nice to see him back on here, but life got in the way, and I think his work schedule changed like that, but he'll get some time off and he can toss up a video or three. I'm drinking the tea, which I added the sweetened condensed milk. Oh, yeah, those are supposed to be pretty good. I have never tried one of those, but I have tried a couple of medicinal honey. And they used to be, I have not seen those for a while. They had medicinal herbs infused into them. And the one time I was pretty sick, sicker than I had been in quite some time, those one had one group of herbs in it. The other one had a few different ones, so they're not the same. So I used one in the morning and then I used the other one at night. I actually enjoyed using them. They did not taste odd, at least not to me. I could taste the essence of the herbs that were in there, but that was not enough to overpower the honey. Oh yeah, that that is a great way to do it. Is to put it on naan or something like that, or even just on a cracker. Yeah, you could. You don't have to have naan. You could have other flatbreads do the same thing. Or if you had a tortilla thin and then roll that thing up. That would be one way to do it. I'm going to put some more of this plum jam on this piece of this. Chocolate. This chocolate ration has some additional ingredients, some nutrients added to it in order to increase the nutritional value of the entire ration. soldier in the field the maximum nutritional value for the day while still giving him a morale boost. It tastes like a milk chocolate. There's just a very, very slight hint of something else added to it. Almost like a protein supplement, but it's actually not that bad. Some people don't like it. Okay, I'll still be here. Dang, I love this bag of cheese. If you buy baggies on Amazon, you'd obviously, so if you buy more than one can. But if you want to try it, if you've never tried it before, get one can. And then if you do like it, then you can get more. But having tried it, I really enjoy it. I will definitely get some. Again, this ration was produced in 2020. I don't know when canned in, but this cheese can last a fair amount of time. It tastes like, it's in texture, it's cheese. It's a same, although I do enjoy that, is a few notches above that Russian cheese. For one thing, I think the can preserves it better than that foil tin thing that but it just tastes like a creamy white cheddar, which it is. And granted, it is heavily processed like a lot of commercial cheeses are. But being a shell, open it. Yeah, it's definitely a good option for emergency food supply. You look on YouTube or any social media, you'll find. In fact, the stream that I was in before I went live, he was doing a giveaway wheel thing, and he actually had something in the middle of light beams that were lit up where the World Trade Center Twin Towers used to be. So he had that image on his wheel for his giveaways. And he was asking where they were when that happened. And so everybody was putting in the chat where they were when it happened. And I was working at a local Walgreens at the time, but I was a closer. It's not like a lot of the other Walgreens stores are. So we only had like 2 shifts, and they overlapped in the middle part of the day. So I had not yet gotten up, but I have my radio on. So I listened to that. It on as and then getting ready to walk to the store, and then I get in there and the store's bonkers. In fact, I didn't even have time to clock in. I was just told by the boss to log into a register, and so I did. As far as the time, and he had he either had a radio or a little TV up in the office, and he had the office door open so we could hear updates. They moved on, and they literally cleaned us out of all batteries except for the button batteries that you would put into a watch or a digital thermometer or anything that uses the button batteries. It literally and we had the little tiny TVs. They were black and white back then, but any little appliance, radio or TV that we had, as well as batteries, they cleaned us out. There is Yossi, all the way from Israel, pulling an all-nighter, up late, or haven't even gone to bed yet. So thanks for dropping in. CR1M. The main was pasta bolognese, which is pretty good on its own, but I dropped a few chunks of this Bega canned cheese into it, and I even put a tiny Vegemite in. So anyway, I was saying how the store I was working in at the time was just going absolutely bonkers. And then corporate had set up this Red Cross donation thing where people could add a certain amount and that. And so people were doing that like crazy. And then we had the shirts and the stickers that, they had the U.S. flag on it. And something like, we stand together, something like that. I don't remember what the saying was underneath. It hold a crap ton. Yeah, that was definitely an interesting day. And our National Guard, which is the Air National Guard, that is based at the Des Moines Airport, or at least that's their operating base, where they used to fly fighter jets out of before they transitioned over to drones. In another location. So our over the area 24/7. So I heard those jets, those are the only jets flying for quite some time until the government had given the all clear for other planes to fly. Oh, a raw honey that cannot get that, then any honey will still offer you some benefit. The Manuka, that is, I would consider that one a medicinal honey. I have never tried it. Here in the U.S., but very, very good medicinal. You can use it like you would any other honey to sweeten something, but if you want to take it as and if you can afford to get at least one container of it, I do want to days. So I will do that. I am very curious about it myself. And I'm putting big old glue. These crackers are what USMRE crackers should be. A little stronger, or flavor. And this is a USMRE lime, the lemon lime drink. The CR1M only comes with one cold drink powder, not including the protein drink. I will mix that up next time. And I was looking at that earlier. That can be done either hot or cold. That is different than the Sustagen nutritional drink, which was in the previous version of the CR1M that I had. I think it is still in other menus. I kept the paper. Let's see. I was just looking at this. It says protein powdered chocolate or protein powder coffee. So that would be interesting. So here is, on this side of the super big paper, is a listing of the contents of all 8 menus. So this is menu G, and I think the first one that I had, I think was a menu H, but that was from 2016, so that was older. Lamb korma and chicken with wild rice are the mains in the menu H as of 2020. I don't know if that has since changed. I'm assuming that these are mixed, these are changed up quite frequently to avoid ration food fatigue. But the lamb stew that was in this one that I had last week, I really, really enjoyed that one. It's just chocolate ration. Is basically the edible version of a protein powder. You taste a little bit of that protein supplement aftertaste in this, but it's not bad. At least not to me. You really don't smell it until after you bite into it. But, of course, I will still finish off that whole thing. And this jam sandwich, sometimes the filling in there can be a more vibrant red. I don't know if this one is just darker with age or just a different flavoring that's in there. But this plum jam is actually pretty good on it. It may look a little redder because of my lighting, but it looks like more of a raspberry, kind of almost a brownish color to my naked eye. And, you know, it's a very sweet plum. Some might not like plum jams that sweet, but it's not bad. I will still enjoy it. The cookies themselves are soft. And a bit dry, but this plum jam on there takes away that dryness and just adds a little more flavor. And one last squirt of the Vegemite on this last piece of cracker. And the rest will be saved for another day. maybe I'll just cut open one of those pitas that I bought when I was at Hillel Groceries last week and just squirt this in there. All over the inside of that pita, and then eat it that way. I'm going back for this cheese. If I were out in the field, I would have used my Fred to open this and then use the spoon end of that to eat the cheese out of it. But at home, I use the can opener I use all the time. So the first Fred that I got, Field Ration Eating Device is what that stands for. I have that on my keys. So everywhere I go, I have a can opener on me. Besides what I have in my get home bag. I have either a P38 or P51 in there. And then I have one of those in my bug out bag. But this Fred that I got out of this ration went on to my spare keys. So I have a spare set of keys. So that if for some reason I break the keys that I normally carry or I lose it, or something like that, I have a backup. Or if I have a guest stay with me, I need to let my guest have a set of keys to get in and out. If they have to do so while I'm not here, then I have that backup. Well, that'll do it for that. Plus that little thing has worked for popping the little strips of tape that are on the 600 count fork and spoon boxes that we get from either Costco or Sam's Club that we use at the mosque for our meals. Since, although I carry a pocket knife, I keep it in my purse. I don't keep a knife in my pocket because I don't always have pockets in my clothes every day. But having that Fred on my keys, I can use that to open up those boxes, or at least pop the tape on them. And then when the entry door latch was messed up and you push on the handle and it wouldn't open up because the latch itself was half cocked, you needed something to push on it. And so I used the spoon end of that to pop the latch and open the door. So that is how I use that. So having that thing has literally gotten me out of a jam, so to speak. So when that door latch was messed up like that, I was so glad I had my Fred so I could just pop that door and get out. And I'm back to munching on my chocolate ration. You can find those Fred can openers on eBay. Maybe some that are copies that may not have been produced in Australia or New Zealand or wherever these are made. And it basically looks like a P51 with a little spoon on the end. And that actually gives you a bit more of something to hold on to when you're actually using it to open a can. So that's another nice thing about those. And just for the heck of it, a little plum jam on a chocolate square. Doesn't quite have the flavor punch that orange would have or that cherry would have if it was real cherry. I was just looking in the ingredients there. So it does have real plum juice and pectin, which would be what you would normally put in a jam or a jelly to make it congeal during the processing. You know, if you can your own jams and jellies and preserves, you put pectin in there before you put the stuff in your canning jars and put it in your canner. So there's real plum in there. But sugar is the first ingredient, so I think that should tell you something. But it still has a nice flavor. So, my third meal, I will have this protein drink. So this is slightly different than the sustagen. That stuff was so hard to mix no matter what you did, short of putting a stick blender in the glass. Or putting it in a shaker bottle. That stuff just never really mixed up well. So I got that. This cereal bar with seeds, including chia. It feels like a Nutri-Grain bar. It's pretty busted up in there. And the cream of mushroom soup. I have an idea with this. Yeah, this only, it says add to boiling water. It doesn't give an amount. But I have an idea. So here is a instant mashed potato, and this is in a Ziploc bag. This has a zip seal. And it is gusseted. This calls for 250 mils, or basically a cup of water. But you know, with instant mashed potatoes, that can vary. And you can change that up if you need to. This is what I'm thinking. Put the two together and mix it up. So I have basically mushroom flavored instant potatoes. Plus I have the teriyaki steak bar. I have the M&Ms. And I have the tuna. It is in a tomato and herb dressing. And although this ration does not come with it, I may go ahead and turn this into a tuna salad and throw some of my Miracle Whip in there. Just for the sheer heck of it. And get one of my pitas, because they're the pocket pitas. I could stuff this in there and make myself a tuna salad sandwich to go along with my mushroom mashed potatoes. And if I want, I can throw the Vegemite into the potatoes. So I may play around with that next Sunday just to change it up a bit, just to be a little different. I mean, heck, why not? I'm at home, I can do with it what I want. You know, I'll have this protein drink. I have never tried anything like this hot. That would be interesting to do. It might dissolve better in hot water. So drinking this like hot cocoa mix, that might be interesting. And if I do that, I'll pull one of my own cold drink powders like I did tonight with getting the lemon lime and having that with my meal. That'll probably what will happen. That's probably what I'm going to do next week. In fact, I think I'll just plan on it. I suppose if I wanted to, I could have saved the sandwich cookies for next week, but I went ahead and opened them up. But I got the M&M, so that'll be fine. I suppose the cereal bar probably would have, and the plum jam probably would have been good with the breakfast, but the mueslis that I guess I just normally don't do breakfast parts of rations because they're really, there's not a whole lot to it. Plus, I wanted to have some of those other things with dinner, so I just saved that muesli for another day. I might take it camping, or I put that into, like my emergency meal bucket that I put together. So when I get some of those things like that I don't eat, I like them, but I don't eat breakfast a whole lot. And since I do these in the evening, I eat some of the items that would normally be had for breakfast with my dinner. So that leaves me with the Tabasco and this ketchup, which I really didn't see anything that could have used this. Yeah, sure, I could have put these in a spaghetti bolognese, but that would have totally ruined the flavor. So these will go into my stash. I got bags that I keep these in the fridge. They're like my emergency condiment stash that I can pull out if I need to. Plus, they're perfect for travel. Going back for the tea. And I put sweetened condensed milk in this tea so it looks and tastes like a proper English tea the way a lot of them over there like to drink it. And all of the sweetened condensed milk had incorporated itself into the tea. And I will finish off the rest of this plum jam. I do like how you get a good amount of this stuff. I'm sure guys in the field, if they didn't eat it all for one meal, they could stick this or even this in their pocket. It might do that with the sweetened condensed milk as well. Stick this in their pocket, and as they're going along doing whatever they're doing, they need a tiny bit of a hit of something. Pull this out of your pocket, squirt some in your mouth, and go. You put the cap back on, toss it back in your pocket. I'm sure that's how some of them do that with these tubes. Yeah. It's a great way to package this kind of stuff. As long as it's a tough tube that can still be squeezed. And because this is metal, it holds its shape. So you could squeeze this up and then roll this up and it would stay that way. And make it easier to get it out next time you want to use it. Our toothpaste tubes used to be like this back in the day where we could curl this up. I'll do it on the plum jam one because it'd be easier to show it, but you just, and the companies have even made little things you could stick the tube in and you just roll it up. See, it holds its shape and doesn't uncurl like a modern toothpaste tube would. This is not going anywhere unless I put my thumb under there and unroll it. So that is what is great about these tubes. I do commend the Aussies and the New Zealanders for coming up with this. It may be more expensive to produce this in the plastic tube, but in my opinion, this is better. Of course, with the aluminum shortage that a lot of places are experiencing, this would be harder to get, but if they had enough of this stuff in stock, they could knock out these for quite some time. But anyway, this is going to be next week's meal. And I got a message from a reviewer that I had won a prize from, Chef 5-Minute Meals, one of those civilian ration type packs with an entree, and a couple other things thrown in there, wrapped in clear plastic. I won one of those, and but that was back in August, I think, before I took off on my family trip. And he told me that might be a little while before it gets sent out because of his schedule. And I said, yeah, I'm cool with that. So whenever. So I got a message saying that it was just recently put into Canadian Postal Service hands. And because it's vegetarian, hopefully our customs will not screw with it. It's that chickpea masala one that had my interest, and I got to choose that one, so that's what I chose after I won that giveaway that he had. So I got that coming. Plus, hopefully, Bob over at Minotaur Trading Company can get my order that I had actually placed at the end of June and had not been shipped out. And I guess their one attempt was, my address is not deliverable. So someone had messed up. And the UPS tracking only shows label created. It doesn't have a ship date, so he's trying to figure out what was up there. And of course, I ordered from Valhalla Survival. I made my first order from that one, so I'm hoping that those will be delivered at somewhat the same time. But if not, that's okay, because it'll just mean I can get those spread out, and it gets me a few more rations. So getting 3 meals out of this one, plus the 3 rations that I have in my box. I have 2 halal emeries. Both of them I have had before. One is the older style packaging, one is the newer style packaging. And then I have one of the early MRE Nation MREs that is in the same type of brown bag that the standard US MRE is in, just with the MRE Nation logo on it. I have that one. So that will get me into October. And plus, when I get that chickpea masala Chef 5-Minute Meals one, that'll definitely get me into probably through the first couple of weeks of October. And then when I get the other items, I ordered a mystery box from Minotaur Trading Company. And sometimes those include at least 1 complete ration in there. But I enjoy mystery boxes. I love getting surprises, so I'm definitely looking forward to seeing what's in there. But anyway, I think I'm going to go ahead and call this one good for now. I will put I'll put all these things away. The Vegemite does not have to be refrigerated after open. I have my open jars of Vegemite and Marmite in my kitchen cabinet that I dip into once in a while. So this is shelf stable even after opening. So that's another good thing about the Vegemite and the Marmite. Though you do have to use them up within a certain amount of time. But because they are very salty, they could probably last longer than that. But I will store this plum jam in my fridge. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and call this good. I do want to thank you all for stopping by. And again, thanks to Art Nina of 4NMRE for dropping that super chat. That's much appreciated. I'm looking forward to them getting in their new digs and rebuilding their inventory so I can place some orders with them again. I really do hope they're able to get foreign rations without having to only stick with fish and vegetarian ones. You know, without dealing with the customs hassle. But anyway, I'm still going to support them. But anyway, thanks for watching and catch you on the flip side.